Welcome back to Preservation Travels with Lane and Kevin here at Our Restoration Nation. And today we're bringing you Christmas time at the Burn.
In 1933, Annie Brooks, granddaughter of John P. Walworth, writes this about the Burn. The Burn property, when purchased by John P. Walworth in 1834, extended from Union Street to Clifton Heights. The home was erected the same year and got its name from the Scotch meaning brook or stream which ran through the property where Pearl Street is now. Architects and builders were brought in from the east, the finest that could be found. It took more than a year to build and has often been compared to the temple, for scarcely the sound of a hammer was heard in its erection. This grand old home has stood fire, storms, and war. When Grant's army took possession of the old town, the Burn became the army headquarters and later turned into a hospital for Union soldiers. The wonderful lawns, gardens, and grand old trees fell before axe and sword. After the war clouds had rolled away, it was restored to its owner in a ruined condition, with doors still open to loved ones and friends. Generations have passed over its threshold, loving it as a living being. The sons of the family bravely answering to their country's call to arms and returning with untarnished record. Many brides have left its loving care for homes of their own, and the mystery of life, birth, and death have hollowed its walls with pride and sorrow. We relinquish our rights into others' hands, our escutcheon unsullied by debt or shame. We rejoice it will again be a loved home, and may the happiness of the Walworth name continue to follow and bless its present owners.
Today we're so lucky to be hosted at the Burn to bring you this beautiful Greek Revival home built in 1834 by John Walworth and his family. The Walworths were bankers, merchants, and of course planters, and this was their suburban villa. The Burn takes its name for the Scottish word for a brook, and it was named for the small brook that once ran through this 100-acre property. Of course, now the property is much smaller than that and sits right in the middle of the city of Natchez, Mississippi. Absolutely stunning property. It is the first purely Greek Revival home in the city. Of course, the earlier properties that we've shown you here in the city, like Gloucester, Auburn, and Linden, those are federal period homes, many of which had elements, the beginning of their Greek Revival style added on to them or as part of their original architecture. But this, the Burn, is the first purely Greek Revival home that we have here in the city. It is a pure translation of the style and is built before we get the Natchezian version of the Greek Revival style. Later here in Natchez, the Greek Revival style metamorphs into a distinctly Natchez style where the once prominent staircase, like you'll see here in the Burn, this beautiful prominent spiral rising staircase, gets added to the back of the hall and tucked in, where when you enter these grand find homes, you do not have an obstructed view by the staircase. It's moved over to the side and behind in the hallway. So let's go inside and see this beautiful, early, purely Greek Revival masterpiece, the Burn.
The architect of the Burn was T.J. Hoyt from New York, who brought his own craftsmen with him to construct the Burn. The feature of the Burn is the semicircular staircase in the main hall. John Walworth was originally from New York State and moved from there to Ohio and then to Natchez, where he married Sarah Walworth and became a successful postmaster, mercantile owner, alderman, mayor, and plantation owner of 3 plantations in Louisiana and Arkansas. Mr. Walworth took care of his former house slaves in this home until they passed away. He had a tutor from the North who taught not only Mr. Walworth's children, but also the enslaved children of the household to read and write. Originally, over 100 camellias, azaleas, gardenias, and Cunningham fir trees grace the grounds of the Burn. In the central hall, we see a semi-suspended spiral staircase, meaning the lower steps support the ones above. There's a 19th century Sheraton sideboard, a 19th century gold Victorian mirror, an 18th century French barometer, 19th century antique Regency chairs, a beautiful French Fournet clock made in New Orleans by a French clockmaker. The oil painting is of Windsor Castle, and there are 19th century French oil cartoons. In the gold front parlor, we see two beautiful settees made by Léon Marcotte, a French cabinet maker in New York. They were made in 1860 for an industrialist living in Pittsburgh, and they have been on display in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We also see a set of 4 Marcotte parlor chairs from 1860. The Bechstein baby grand piano dates to the early 20th century. In one of the front windows, you can find a name etched during the Civil War.
This episode is brought to you by Monk Pack. Monk Pack offers low-sugar, keto-friendly bars that are plant-based, gluten-free, and non-GMO. They're the perfect snack for anyone who's trying to eat better or cut back on sugar and carbs without sacrificing taste. Monk Pack Keto granola bars and nut and seed bars contain 1 gram of sugar or less, 2 to 3 grams of net carbs, and each bar contains 150 calories or less. Monk Pack bars have an amazing chewy texture and come in delicious flavors like sea salt dark chocolate and caramel sea salt. I'm going to take one to Lane now because she's getting kind of hangry while she's sewing. Lane, I have something for you.
What?
It's a little snack.
Are you handing me food?
It's a Monk Pack snack.
Why are you handing me a Monk Pack snack?
Because you're hangry.
I'm hangry at my sewing machine because it's not working. Do I need to eat?
Yes,
Okay.
You need to eat.
No.
It's what Monk Pack is good for.
Oh God. That will help. Will it help my sewing machine?
Maybe. Want to get 20% off your next order of Monk Pack? Well, go to monkpack.com and enter code RESTORATION at checkout, or click the link below.
The showpiece of the dining room is a 17th century copy of Madonna in the Chair by Raphael, with a 17th century gold frame. The butler's tray for the family to serve themselves is 19th century and comes from the home Bontura, also located in Natchez. There's a 19th century made in Natchez sideboard with a marble top, and a 20th century original Tiffany lamp that's a family heirloom from the current owner's family. treasures in the library include a 16th century German mirror over the mantel. There's a huge collection of antique Japanese Imari porcelain. The large bookcase comes from Dunleith in Natchez and was made in the city. The secretary is an 18th century family piece of the current owner. Downstairs in the guest quarters, there are many treasures to be discovered. Across the walls, we see Walworth family pictures. In the hallway, the trunks and engraving come from a trip to Italy that the Walworths took to visit a cousin who is a duchess. The burn-in dining room is where the officers kept their horses during the federal occupation of the home from 1863 to 1864, and the windows show evidence of where the horses fed out of them.
The Burn stayed in the Walworth family for 100 years until 1938. In 1970, it opened as Natchez's first full-service bed and breakfast, and it continues to serve that purpose today. Only here at the Burn will you find true Southern hospitality. You have rooms in the main house where you can stay as a guest, luxury accommodations, a beautiful suite, and a full Southern breakfast served in the dining room, and you'll be serenaded by Franco, the in-house pianist, while you enjoy your breakfast. You can have one of the luxury suites that overlooks one of these beautiful courtyards that are landscaped as they've been for almost 200 years. You're right in the middle of town, but it's so peaceful, so quiet, you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. And you can't miss the fountain behind me. It's the earliest fountain in the city of Natchez. It originally came from Wigwam, which is another early property here in the city proper. So there are treasures and secrets and mysteries to be discovered around every corner here at the Burn. Your trip to Natchez won't be complete without a several night stay here at this immaculate property. Better yet, come and stay over the holidays when you can enjoy the Christmas decorations so beautifully put up by the current owner. We've enjoyed having you today on Preservation Travels with Lane and Kevin. We hope you've enjoyed Christmas at the Burn, and we'll see you next time.